Now, the AA has described Folkstone as the hotspot for holiday hell, with traffic hoping to use the Channel Tunnel starting to back up. Let's speak to John Keefe, who's from Eurotunnel. John, thank you so much for talking to us. So what has gone wrong here?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer because as far as we're concerned, everything is going right. Our service is working as it should. We're running 4 departures per hour. We are carrying the traffic that was forecast for the day. And in fact, we're slightly ahead of the forecast as we speak. So once people get to our terminal, get to our check-in, then they're moving through as we would normally plan. We've recognised, because we're seeing the coverage, that there are significant difficulties on the roads. And it's difficult to answer why they're there because our service is running as it should.
So there's absolutely no change in the amount of people getting on the Eurotunnel from now and let's say this week, for instance, the number of people per hour?
No, we are running our normal service, 4 trains per hour, and we're filling them. And the people, when they arrive at our check-in, are taking about 90 minutes to go from the check-in to their departure. And we advise people to turn up about 2 hours before their booked departure. So we're well within the sort of margin for error on that side of things. The only thing that's changed in travel terms, and this has been commented on a number of times, is of course that people are having to go through a passport control to get into the EU now. But that's included within the 90 minutes. So it's not actually affecting their journeys because we've got the resourcing from the PAF to cover that.
In terms of this weekend, I imagine that one would plan ahead because one would assume a lot more people will be trying to get on the Eurotunnel, going on holiday. So did you plan ahead and did you put more people on post, as it were?
Absolutely. In fact, we brought additional staff through from our terminal in France because France has been quieter Friday and Saturday. It starts to get a bit busier this afternoon as people come back from their holidays. But we've had additional staff around the terminal. But we've had additional services, or we've had entertainment for children. We've had a singer in the terminal building giving live music all the way through. We're providing, obviously, refreshment water in critical areas where people are getting too hot. Additional services also for people with pets, lots more shade, lots more drinking bowls. So we've put on a lot of extra stuff, which we always do in the summer. And we've put on additional trains by comparison to the middle of the week in the autumn or the winter, so that we're at peak service right the way through this weekend with additional support to get people through the terminal. As I say, when they're reaching the terminal, they're moving through as they should, and we're filling all of those trains. We recognise there's difficulties outside and that there is a lot of traffic on the roads, but when people get to us, they're going through as they would expect to.
When I spoke to our reporter at the beginning of this hour, I think it was about 1:10, 1:15, she said it was taking people about 2 hours to get onto that train. So that's what we say to people: expect about 2 hours, arrive 2 hours before your departure. And when people do that, then that's fine. We're actually averaging somewhere around 90 minutes, so we're within that time frame on our terminal. So the service that we're running is the service that we advertised. It's booked, so everybody who is travelling today has a reservation. Now, they're struggling to get to the terminal, and so people are turning up late for their booked departure. Well, that's not a problem. We're accepting them in order of arrival to make sure that they're not held up by the fact that their departure has already gone. So where is the problem? Because you acknowledge there is a problem.
No, I acknowledge there's a lot of traffic on the roads. I can only talk to you about what we're doing ourselves and how our service is running. And our service is running as it's planned to run. 4 departures per hour, that's peak service, with traffic moving from the check-in to the departure in about 90 minutes, 2 hours if some people are experiencing slightly longer. But that's within the margin for error that is set within the expectation. So I can't answer the question of why there is congestion all around the area. The traffic is turning up and is being carried across the channel as planned.
So do you think that this situation, what we're seeing this weekend, is going to happen every single time there's a peak, every single time we have a busy weekend, and going forward, every single summer?
Well, there are things which have changed in travel. So certainly it does take longer on average for people to get through.
What specifically has changed in travel? And why does it take longer?
Border controls. There are now border controls. So there will be additional constraints on travel.
So is that what's causing the problem here?
Well, from our perspective, recognising that there would be more time needed to get through border controls, we've actually capped the volume of traffic that we will take so that we're carrying less than we did in 2018, for example. So the measures, the contingencies that we put in place are to ensure that traffic continues to flow through at the speed of our uplift capability, which is 4 trains per hour. And that's happening on our terminal. Now, quite what's going on the motorway since Friday, really, and we know that there was a very major accident on the motorway. There's a lot of additional trucks on the roads at the moment that normally wouldn't be there at a weekend. And so when you mix the truck traffic and the passenger traffic, so you've got very high levels of trucks that shouldn't be there, very high and expected levels of passenger traffic. The mix of the two means that there is congestion. It's not necessarily related to the number of people trying to get across the channel.
So is the issue, there's a big traffic jam, there's a big queue on the road that's related to road traffic and the number of trucks on the road, or is it those border checks making it longer for people to get onto the Eurotunnel?
The issue on the roads is traffic. Normally, the truck traffic travels during the middle of the week and is cleared by Friday evening when the passenger traffic starts to build. Unfortunately, on Friday this week, there was a very major accident that closed the M20 for several hours. And that truck traffic was then stuck on the motorway, being managed in Operation Brock, being cared for in Operation Brock, but taking up space on the road system that would normally be available for passenger vehicles. So that's the situation we're observing, is that there is far more traffic in general numbers, mixed of trucks and passengers on the roads, and that's causing congestion. The transport service that we run, the shuttle service, is running as it's planned.
How is it running as it's planned if there's a lot of traffic?
Well, we plan to carry 7,000 passenger cars today. We plan to carry them at a regular rate throughout the day, and we are on our timetable slightly ahead. We carried a few hundred cars more than we would have expected to carry by this time of day. So the plan that we go through is somebody makes a booking, they get added to the number of vehicles we're going to carry. We provide the capacity to carry that number of vehicles, and then we keep a measure of that through the day. And that's what we're doing. That is the plan, and that plan is working. It's on time. So once people reach our terminal where we start to take care of them, they are moving through as it was planned.
It's very confusing. And I'm sure you can appreciate this, that you're seeing all these issues. People are spending, at the Port of Dover, for instance, I know this is not at Folkstone, but they spend the night in their cars waiting for this. Whenever we ask someone, what's going on? What's the issue here? The buck is passed. Do you think that it's time now someone took responsibility for...
No. I think I'm taking responsibility for what we are responsible for. We're responsible for moving traffic across the channel from once it gets to our check-in until it reaches the other side. And vice versa. We've got a busy afternoon in France, bringing people back into the UK again. So we plan that. We have a set number of spaces that we will provide travel for.
Can I just jump in there? Yeah, can I just jump in there? When you say we're operating at peak, what exactly do you mean by peak? And how do you tweak that according to the time of year, the time of day even?
So the peak is when maximum demand occurs, and that's this weekend. This is the busiest weekend of the whole year. And peak service for us is providing 4 trains, 4 shuttle departures per hour in each direction. So that's the peak. Outside of peak, we might only be providing 3 or 2 or sometimes just 1 departure per hour because there isn't any demand for it. So we would be running empty trains if we ran any other way. So at this time, we prepare to carry 4 full trains per hour, and then we keep another train in reserve just in case one of those has an issue, a failure. We can always move another train into service. So our peak service is there to carry maximum numbers of passengers and to provide flexibility should anything go wrong. So we don't cancel departures, we simply move people on to the next one. So whoever turns up at our terminal today with a booking to travel today will be carried to France today.